I remember the exact moment the messages got shorter. I told myself they were just busy. I told myself a lot of things back then. Nobody sat me down and told me what that meant. Nobody said, "Pay attention to this, this is where it starts." I had to figure it out after, on my own. And after I'd already lost a version of myself I'm still trying to account for. Soft didn't work on me. Soft just gave me more room to lie to myself. So that's not what you're getting here. Let's talk about the texts. Not the big moments. Not the screaming match or the day everything fell apart. The texts. Because that's where it actually started, and you know it. Think back. There was a shift. The messages got shorter, the response time got longer, the warmth disappeared. Not all at once, that would have been too obvious. Slowly, quietly, in a way that was easy to explain away. And you did explain it away, didn't you? That's the part we need to talk about. You told yourself they were busy, stressed, going through something. You gave them every excuse available because the alternative, actually looking at what was happening, was too much to sit with. So you didn't sit with it. You looked away, and then you looked away again, and again. That's not love. That's self-abandonment with a love story on top. Let me tell you what was actually happening. They were showing you who they were. Not in the big dramatic way people talk about. In the small, consistent, daily way that is far more honest than any grand gesture. The texts were the data. You just refused to read it. And I get it. There was a time I refused to read it too. I watched the messages change and told myself it was a phase. I made myself smaller, more available, more understanding. I thought if I just gave enough, things would go back to how they were. They didn't, they never do. Because here's what nobody told me, and nobody told you either. When someone starts pulling back like that, they've already made a decision. Maybe not consciously, maybe not finally, but something in them has shifted. And all the explaining, all the patience, all the trying harder, none of it addresses that shift. It just delays the moment you have to face it. Here's the thing, you were facing a decision that had already been made. You just weren't allowed to know that yet. So you kept texting, you kept checking, you started reading into response times, into punctuation, into whether they used your name. You became a detective in your own relationship. Searching for evidence of something you used to just have. That right there, that investigation, that's not a relationship. That's a person trying to solve a problem the other person has already stopped caring about. And somewhere in all of that, you stopped being yourself. You started performing, crafting messages, rereading them before sending, trying to find the version of you that would get the old response back. The warm one, the one that felt like they actually wanted to be there. That version of them wasn't coming back, because it was never fully real. Or it was real for a moment, and that moment passed, and they moved on while you were still standing in it. I'm not telling you this to hurt you. I'm telling you this because someone should have told you sooner. When the texts changed, that was information and you were allowed to use it. You were allowed to say, "This doesn't feel right." You were allowed to ask a direct question and expect a direct answer. You were allowed to decide that half presence wasn't enough. You were allowed to leave before it got worse. But nobody told you that. So you stayed, and it got worse. And here we are, now you're here, carrying the weight of every message you overanalyzed. Every moment you talked yourself out of your own instinct. Every time you felt something was wrong and then spent an hour convincing yourself you were being paranoid. You weren't paranoid. You were right. You were right from the moment it started feeling different, and your gut had the answer before your brain was willing to hear it. That's the thing about the texts, they're just the beginning of this. The first place the truth shows up. Before the excuses, before the arguments, before the version of events they'll give you later that makes you question your own memory. It starts in the texts, it starts small, it starts in a way that's just deniable enough to let you stay. And you stayed. That's not a character flaw. That's what happens when nobody teaches you that love isn't supposed to feel like a guessing game. That connection isn't something you should have to chase in someone who's supposed to be choosing you. You were chasing. Every day, in every message, hoping this one would land differently. It didn't, and you already know that. You saw it in the texts, you saw it before the texts, you saw it the moment something in you went quiet and stopped expecting. You just kept checking your phone anyway. I want you to see that's not love. That's hope with no evidence left to stand on. And hope without evidence isn't romantic. It's just very expensive. Your call now. What you do with that clarity is up to you.